Hi you guys, we are on lesson 6 of Soul Lessons and Soul Purpose with Sonia Choquette. Live in the present. Maybe the hardest thing to do ever. At least consistently. We all have our moments, right? So live in the present is the soul lesson, and the purpose is to demonstrate the power that derives from living in the moment. You can't manifest if you are living in the past or the future. We have to be aligned to this moment to anchor in the frequency, right? Manifestation happens when you are grounded in and aligned to the present moment. Alignment is the key word. Ego jumps back and forth from the past to the future using your precious mental energy on rumination and worry instead of presence, which just siphons so much mental energy. And our attention is one of our most precious resources, right? Where our attention goes, energy flows. You forfeit the power to create in this instant and develop what you want when you tie up your creative potential by dwelling on these other times. And you create a lot of suffering too, right? Your ego must be trained to be in the now because it believes that it is protecting you from negativity and disappointment. But that's a lie. It's not. There's no way to predict, right? All the possible outcomes, or to, use the past to predict the future somehow, except for maybe self-fulfilling prophecy, and we're trying to guard against that here. That's only helping you to recreate the patterns. It takes discipline and determination to remain present because the ego likes to replay all slights, injustices, routines, and anything familiar, even if that's not for your highest good. Especially if it's not for your highest good, right? Because there's the negativity bias of the brain, where we recall negative experiences more so, to keep us alive primarily, but it can really, really sabotage us from manifesting our deepest desires and biggest dreams. The ego values security and certainty over all else, usually closing the gap of uncertainty with erroneous beliefs, only loosely based on reality, if at all. Right? So, we might prematurely end a situation, a relationship, an opportunity out of fear because we've never had success, right? Anyone relate to that? We might overspend because it's just uncomfortable to hold on to money because we've never had it, right? So this is the ego at play. The ego isn't good at creating. The ego has no part in creating a new opportunity, a new experience for us. So we got to put it in its proper place and know that its intention is good to keep us alive and keep us safe, but it's not helpful in it creating something new. Placing your attention squarely in the present, you can also heal the past. Sonia shared the story of her mother who had survived a concentration camp. And Sonia was really curious about this time in her life and wanted her to impart, some of her experience to her. So she, on her parents' 50th wedding anniversary, took them to the camp in Germany. And there were flowers blooming there, and her mother teared up and said, "See, Sonia, like nothing can stop life." And then was like, let's not go in there. Like, I don't want to live in the past. There's much more value in the present for me, which is so beautiful. Like that moved me very much. There is much more value in the present. Living gloriously in the here and now improves the quality of things to come. It's not a problem to look forward to happy prospects, but be diligent about not creating suffering and disempowerment with destination addiction. Okay, who else suffers from this? This has been a problem in my life for a long time. I had dealt with still managing and healing a broken bond with mother from when I was a baby, and that creates some mistrust and suffering. And then what often happens is we escape through forward thinking, so fantasy, right? And I kind of got addicted to this idea that the future will be better. The future will be better. And so I was never able to really be fully present. I actually ended up, because I had very painful experiences in my youth, of not feeling like I belonged, even on Earth, and weird, crazy experiences I probably inherited to heal. And I was not able to be in my body. So, grounding down was really helpful for me, learning to be embodied, and to be mindful of any time I'm resisting being connected to the earth, right? I have a tendency, and maybe some of you relate, of rolling back in my hips, right? It's not just to show off the booty, right? It's actually resisting being connected and grounded down. And it's one way we bind the charge and don't accept the life force energy and nurturing from Mother Earth. And for me and for many, even if you didn't have physical separation from Mother, this can be inherited. I think that the eggs of your mother are fully formed while she's still a fetus. I think it's like 6 months as a fetus. Your mother's eggs are fully formed. So you're really inheriting circumstances from your grandmother's environment, right? Her response to her environment, your grandmother. So, you know, these things do affect our behavior, our beliefs, and the way we show up. But what this chapter is saying is if we can just practice presence, right, and transcend that wounding, that it can actually bring a lot of healing without revisiting, putting down the bags and the burdens of the past. So a preoccupation with a better future will steal time away where you could be enjoying your life, loving your family and friends, and animal friends, right? Animals. Understanding that this moment is a future you once prayed for. So be here now. Can you see things in your life that, you know, there was a time where you had prayed for it, but you were so desperate for it to come to fruition? Once it's here, we get so desensitized to it, right? So, showing gratitude for what we have helps us be present too. The present truly is a gift, even with its frustrations and sorrows. Each experience, whether it's pleasant or painful, deepens your soul and brings you more learning. If you're able to see it that way, you win. It's just such a winning attitude to, because remember, even though you're seeing things you might not desire consciously, your consciousness is not the only thing that's creating. It's your higher self as well. And your higher self has a maybe more of an understanding and connection to the fact that you're here to learn and grow, and that sometimes you need preparation for your desires. So things that may seem like a curse or a punishment on the outside might actually be a blessing, right? Might actually be timing at play, or a preparation for your soul to get ready to be able to receive the thing that you deeply desire into your life. It's very hard to see things that way, because delayed gratification is not an easy thing, is it? Not many of us have forged that strength, especially, you know, where things can be handed to us instantaneously in our modern culture. But yeah, if you're able to see the gifts, this chapter made me think of, I have a cousin who was falsely accused of a pretty heinous crime, and his family didn't have a lot of expendable income, so they had a state-appointed attorney, I guess, and so the trial didn't really go well, not in his favor, and he was locked up for years of his youth, years of his life in his early 20s to mid-20s, and talk about a challenging time where it's hard to see the blessings, it's hard to see why this might be happening for you, But he was a pretty lost soul. He didn't have a lot of direction. He didn't have a lot of purpose. You know, he was partying a lot. And his time there helped him see how much his family loved him and valued him, because they were there for him every day, taking calls every day, visiting him whenever possible, like every moment possible. There was someone there to see him and be with him. His father, my uncle, is an Italian from New Jersey, wasn't very demonstrative or expressive about how much he loved him. But during that time, he was like, wow, I've never said I love you so much in my life, you know? So, and showing up and being present, right, with him. It created a lot more presence for them. And it gave my cousin a sense of purpose. Now he sees, and he's out, by the way. They focused on justice in the situation, and they got it eventually. So he's out, and while he was in there, he prevented one of the prisoners from committing suicide. He would talk to people, and he's so friendly and outgoing and confident, and he's a real leader. Like, in his life, he would have friends that would just follow him anywhere, right? And so he would talk to the people in prison that no one would talk to or feared because they seemed so dangerous. And he would talk to them and be friendly and befriend them because he's so confident. That's something he always had. And he was really a light in that dark, dark place. So it made him feel like he had purpose. So I think last time I talked to him, he was thinking of going into law or some kind of psychology, something like that, because he sees the need now, and he sees where his energy and personality and actual talents might help the world. So, I mean, talk about a big purpose, right? And learning the lesson of a really dark time. I can't imagine my freedom being taken away like that. And he was so strong. He was just so incredibly strong, and didn't just survive, but thrived through that situation. So I'm so impressed by people like that. I'm so impressed by him. I have so much respect for him for that. So are you able to see that? You know, the blessings or the lessons, or what are you forging during this really hard time? You know, they say don't pray for patience, because you're not going to just feel like, oh, I feel patient now. No, you're going to get opportunities to forge that. So you'll get a lot of, you know, maybe waiting, delays, you know, to practice the art of patience. So that's another thing. Careful what you wish for, right? But know that maybe that's in play right now. Maybe that's at play. You know, if you want something sustainable long term and there's a delay, maybe things are working out so that it becomes more sustainable. You know, if you got what you wanted instantly, it might fly away just as quickly. So try to see the blessings and the lessons in there from the present moment if possible. We're going to practice presence later in meditation. You only need to address what's in front of you now. Carrying the burdens of the past and worries of the future along with you will feel extremely heavy. It'll make it very challenging for you to be enjoying the present, right? It's certainly hard to enjoy the present when you're carrying such a heavy burden and heavy load from the past. Are you able to put any of that down, right? Are you able to go, remember, the subconscious speaks in images. Are you able to see yourself just putting down the bags? Put it down, leave it behind, and just keep walking. You know, one foot in front of the other, from each present moment to each present moment. We no longer need that. You know, Sonia talks about struggling with this lesson herself. She's very goal-oriented. That's what she said. So she's very future-focused. I totally relate to that. You know, I tend to vacillate between rumination of the past, yeah, and or reliving the past, and then The other end of the spectrum, goal-oriented, destination, preoccupation, you know, that destination addiction. But presence is peace. Alignment is key. And this is probably the hardest one for me to really incorporate it. I need reminders to be present, because even when I'm meditating, and I meditate like consistently, I'm a consistent meditator, I'm usually using it to change the future somehow. I'm usually using it to manifest my goals, and I very rarely just kind of ground down and see the value of being present. But it is so much more peaceful. There's much more abundance of time. I feel much less rushed through life, right? Because I'm always chasing something, chasing the future, chasing a goal. And then being in the present, there is so much power in that, because then you're able to receive the blessings, right? You're not chasing them. And it's really a very powerful position to be kind of just seated on your throne, aligned and expanded and open, and able to receive. That's a very powerful position. If you can imagine that. Aligned spine, right? Your tailbone pointed, tucked in, pointed down, right? And then the spine aligned, and then the head up. Because if we're focused, if we're dreaming, our head's usually tilted back, right? It gets us in a really dreamy place. And then down, we're accessing kinesthetic, which is usually like painful past memories, feeling oriented visuals, and that can make us feel heavy and ground and heavy and burdened. So the key is really to be engaged in the present here. And you know, usually in partnership, the main complaint is I don't get enough presence, right? We're not enjoying life enough together. We're not having enough, like she's always preoccupied with something else, or he's always distracted. He's never really there with me. So presence is a gift. It's a gift to yourself. It's a gift to your loved ones. The emissaries caution us against remaining arrested in unresolved childhood traumas. All right. Who else is out there consistently complaining and blaming and resentful in their minds? I know it's immature. I'm working on that. Because it's very ugly behavior, and it's also completely disempowering, right? It's really taking all of your power away and giving it to someone else. Our family of origin is so impactful because it's where we first learn our value, are introduced to relationships, and are given our earliest tools to navigate the world. I studied medical intuition with Carolyn Meese, and she talks about as our first chakra, our root chakra, is being developed as babies and young children, that we are taught through the modeling of our parents, primary caregivers, how to invest our energy. And, you know, that can be religion, that can be a belief system. It can be a tendency and orientation towards future focus or rumination. You know, where are we? Or were our parents very grounded in the present? Did we learn that from them? So, and it's unspoken, right? It's through modeling. So, I mean, religion was certainly spoken. I was raised Catholic, so I still feel a bit of a connection there, even though I'm no longer practicing. I do still feel connected, because that's where I was conditioned to invest a lot of my energy. For many, many years, went to Catholic school, almost went to Catholic college. And while I'm no longer practicing, there's still connection there. I can still feel resonance to a certain extent. That's what I was trying to do. Even though my path is much different now, right? And eventually, this is what adulthood's about, right? Eventually, we must recognize our family's limitations, the ways we feel they wounded us, and forgive them and move on. A little bit easier said than done, but okay, we're working on that. Or if we just get present, a lot of the healing is done for us. If we can just focus here and now. Our relatives are part of our soul school, and we have chosen them. That's really hard to believe sometimes, isn't it? It's very hard to accept that sometimes. But it's a much more empowered way of thinking and believing, and I do believe that. I do happen to believe that. That our relatives, our immediate family, our parents, they create an incubator to grow your soul as quickly as possible and serve us very well in this way. Oftentimes through contrast, right? Or very painful experiences, or it sets our soul up for the purpose that we're meant to, the mission that we're here to serve. And, you know, you think about those wounds that you carry when they're healed, and they become our strongest area, our strongest aspect, and the area we're able to contribute. We're able to help other people then who are navigating similar wounds and say, this is the way, this is what I did. Does any of this resonate with you? So these are also gifts. Very hard to see it that way sometimes. And you know, anytime we resist reality, and not accept circumstances as they are, which puts us in a more powerful position to change them, by the way, because we're present, right? Anytime we're resisting, we're creating suffering for ourselves. Suffering really is believing that the past or this moment should be a different way. It's really the root of suffering, isn't it? My past should have been different. My parents should have been better to me. I should have had more friends, or I should have been cared for better. I should have been treated better, or I should have more money, right? Or I should be in partnership right now. Anytime we believe that something should be a way other than what it was, we create suffering. We're creating suffering for ourselves. So how can we accept ourselves as we are, and what is showing up for us, and see the blessing there, see the lesson, right? There's either a blessing or a lesson, and accept that, because then we're in a much more powerful place for change to occur if something isn't really aligning with our desires. So you might want to think about taking those erroneous beliefs and using inquiry, right? Questioning them and their validity. That's Byron Katie's work, right? Inquiry. If you look her up. And so, yeah, when we resist, like I was saying about my tailbone wanting to come off the ground, you know, to escape the present moment and escape reality and dream about the future. What will also happen is you might find you have tension here. You have tension in the forehead. You have tension. It creates migraines, right? It creates jaw issues. It creates forehead tension headaches. It prevents the flow. Because what you're essentially doing is binding the charge of life force that wants to flow, wants to circulate. Any tension in the body is preventing, in part, to a certain extent, the flow of that. And being in the flow is what we talk about when we're talking about manifestation. Being in the flow, right? Being in the present, right? It's constantly flowing. Also, the emissaries want to remind us that our true parents are the divine Holy Father and Blessed Mother, right? Your mom and dad are the sacred vessels who gave us passage to Earth's school, so we are to respect and honor them for agreeing to do this, but they are not our true origin. And our family is part of our soul's curriculum, which will hopefully give you perspective and compassion and let go of any anger or grudges or blame. Working on that, right? Love these people and realize that they are fumbling through Earth School just like you. It's so true, right? We expect so much. I know I have, you know, my perfectionistic tendencies didn't just stay with me. They kind of leaked out over into other people, but definitely working on putting that into perspective. Anytime I'm blaming, I'm like, wow, you're really disempowering yourself by doing that. And you can see, I can see when, you know, I'm in a healthy mindset, that people are responding to me. You know, if I'm in a place of blame and resentment and anger, I see a response and it's like, I'm creating this. What are you doing? Why are you creating this right now? Because when I'm happy, grateful, higher vibrational, in a positive mindset, it does reflect in my interactions. I can see the change in other people. So I know that I'm the source. So really harnessing that power and owning it, that's important. And I'm gathering presence is probably gonna be key for that. Realistic expectations will help you free yourself from past and future focused thinking, allowing you to be present, right? Expectations, we need to put those in check. What is real and true in your life right now? Notice it, even if it's painful, right? You might have painful circumstances currently, but be aware of how acutely alive the feeling is, right? When you can be present with pain. I once read about being mindful and present to your pain, really, really exploring it. Does it have a color? What's the intensity, 1 to 10? Is there a texture? What's the pattern? Is there a shape? And just being so present with it, physical pain, right? And the pain does go away. It's incredible that resistance really does prolong our pain into suffering, right? When we resist pain, it creates suffering. Okay. If you pay attention, you will see that most of your suffering arises from a fear of possible future anguish that might be too much to bear, which is why we sabotage. So start practicing presence right now by noticing what's right in front of you. What are you surrounded with right now? Allow the colors, smells, lights, textures, landscapes, tastes, and energy anchor you in this moment. You know, what's around you right now? Are you able to take that in? And then notice, what are the symptoms of presence? Does your vision clear? Are you more aware of your body, right? Did you embody? Did you come back down if you have a tendency to float up? Do you feel lighter? Right? Because sometimes when we're ruminating and we get stuck in the past, we pull down, right? And it's a heavy feeling. And then once we're present, our physiology matches. It changes our physiology. So notice the sensation of presence and memorize it so that you may come back the instant you realize you've drifted away, right? Where is that in your brain? How does that show up for you? Memorize it so you're able to come back. And we'll do a little bit of that in meditation as well. The crystal I recommend is carnelian. This is my absolute favorite crystal. At least one of them. It's hard to say like I have a favorite, but I kept the sticker on. Made in Madagascar. I guess it was tumbled there. It's just such a perfect piece of carnelian. I love it. The sphere, and this is known as the artist's stone, and it really does help us maintain presence. Brings exuberance and vitality to your passions and pursuits. Supports your creative process. I have another. I love carrying this piece. I like to hold this piece, pop it in a bra. You know how it is, especially when I'm doing creative work. Activates and resonates with the sacral chakra right below your belly button, right? And it helps you courageously walk your talk in the present moment. Just love carnelian. I have another couple of pieces here, but I'll just show you this one. I loved this one. I don't keep a lot of small tumbled stones. I just don't find them that effective for working with the vibration. But I liked that this kind of looked like a little yoni there. I thought that was really beautiful. So I kept that one. I loved it. So that's carnelian. Do you have a piece of carnelian? Most people that are work with crystals do have a little bit of carnelian with them. It's a pretty popular stone. The essential oil I recommend is myrrh. Myrrh aids in the repair of a strained or disrupted maternal bond, right? I was talking about that earlier. Many of us are carrying that wound, even if we don't realize it, right? This helps you feel grounded and connected to Mother Earth, right? Connected to provision, being supported and nurtured. Overrides fear that the world is unsafe, with a sense of trust and confidence in your ability to manage and navigate this experience. That really does help us stay present, doesn't it? Feeling more at home in your own skin, your relationships with people, places, and life itself are improved. So you'll feel more at home in your body and be able to be embodied. This breaks the fight or flight patterns and helps you overcome the need to escape this turmoil, right? When we escape, we're not present. So, and the fight or flight response really, really disrupts our ability to stay in the present moment as well. Feel nurtured, supported, and at home in your body and this moment despite any opposition or criticism, right? Because you're so comfortable in your own skin that any sort of outside influence that's negative isn't quite as, you know, harmful. We feel a little bit safer, okay? That's myrrh. So that's what I recommend as far as working with this lesson. Now, as I say, if you're already working with an oil and you want to use the same oil for the entire process, continue to do so. There's no need to get anything new, but I will link those two items as well as a diffuser in the description in case you're interested in more information or would like to actually even purchase. And again, you might be working with your eye pillow. You might also be working with clear quartz. You might be programming it with the intentions of this work. And so go ahead and drop your oils onto the eye pillow if you haven't already. And we'll let those absorb for a moment. Again, you may want to hold your carnelian in your receptive hand. Or it might want to go in your sacral chakra, but again, feel it out. It can also alleviate an exacerbated throat. So if you find that you're talking and talking and talking, this might be throat exacerbation, or you tend to push out there. This may help with that exacerbated chakra. So you can either put it there if it feels like it wants to go there, or put it on the sacral, and the energy will flow much more evenly once that chakra is more activated. But again, you might just want to hold it in your receptive hand. Hold your clear quartz in your dominant hand so that you can program it. So go ahead now and lie back, recline, put a mat on the floor, lie on the floor. You may also want to sit with an aligned spine. Remember, you're going to want to put your tailbone the whole way back to the back of the seat so that you're fully supported. If you're in a seat, right, you might be on the floor, which is perfectly fine too. And then, but if you're using an eye pillow or laying on of stones, you will want to be seated or reclined, or laying down or reclined. So go ahead and settle into whatever's holding you up and feel it take all of your weight. Notice any areas you're helping it hold you up. And breathe into that area. And with the exhale, allow your tension to melt away, so that you're able to give your seat, the floor, the couch, the bed, whatever it is, more of your weight, until you feel completely supported. Are you pulling up in resistance anywhere? Use your breath to alleviate any tension or constriction. And we're going to do our breathing cycle. We're going to inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and pause for 4. And I'll lead you through it. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Pause. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Pause. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Pause. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Pause. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Pause. One more time. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Pause. And then go ahead and breathe normally, however that feels natural for you, so that you can become the most relaxed. You may want to continue breathing through your nose to perceive the oil, and exhaling out the mouth so you're not just blowing it out, but whatever feels most natural to you. We're working with the affirmation. I now commit to living in the present, to demonstrate the power that derives from living in the moment. I now commit to living in the present, to demonstrate the power that derives from living in the moment. I now commit to living in the present, to demonstrate the power that derives from living in the moment. As you breathe, notice that you have everything you need in this moment. You are perfectly provided for. Notice any resistance that may come up in the form of tension or constriction. Observe it with the inhale and feel it melt away with the exhale. Keep your mind focused on your breath. When you notice it drift off, as it does, bring it back to the breath. training your mind to focus on this moment, simply observe yourself breathing. And when you become aware that your mind has drifted, and it will, as it does, focus back on your breath. You can use this practice of breathing mindfully when you're feeling intrusive thoughts or anxiety or intense emotions. Bring your awareness back to your breath, and that will bring you presence. As you inhale the aroma of your essential oil, anchor in the affirmation, I am here and all is well. I am here and all is well. Anytime you inhale this scent going forward, say to yourself, I am here and all is well. And notice any sensations or emotions that this elicits. Explore these sensations and emotions more deeply. Be present to them. Do they have a color, a quality, texture, or level of intensity from 1 to 10? Just observe these aspects in a state of curiosity. Now go to the screen in your mind's eye. See yourself seated at a table reading a very large hardback book. You've reread this book many times over and know the stories by heart. These are the stories of your past that you have ruminated on and suffered over. It's time to let go of this book. See yourself close this book, stand up, walk over to the shelf, and put it back. As you zoom out, you realize you're in a huge library with many floors, shelves, and books as far as the eye can see. These are all of the possibilities waiting to be made manifest through your desire and focus. When you put the old book back on the shelf, you instantly let go of toxic patterns and attachment to the suffering of your past. And now you pick out a new book from the endless possibilities. You take it back to the table. As you open it, you realize that it's completely blank, waiting for you to write a brand new beginning to this next chapter of your life. What will you write? There's nothing holding you back. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Pause. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Pause. One more time. Inhale through the nose. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Pause. And breathe naturally. Stay in that mindful state of just acknowledging your breath, staying focused on your inhale and exhale cycle. I now commit to living in the present, to demonstrate the power that derives from living in the moment. And so it is.